Hot, windy and stormy weather across much of eastern and southeastern Australia today, ahead of a milder change. That change is currently moving into Western Victoria and western parts of New South Wales. You can see this blue dashed line indicating where the low pressure trough is. It's hot and windy ahead of this trough, and we're likely to see thunderstorms being generated ahead of and along this system. That means today there is a thunderstorm risk across broad parts of the east and southeast, including much of New South Wales, Victoria, as well as parts of Tasmania, southern Queensland and eastern South Australia. These storms aren't expected to bring too much rainfall with them. That's why we can't see too much on this map right at the moment. However, they may bring some very gusty winds with them, particularly across these southeast inland areas. Through the northeast pastoral of South Australia and parts of western and inland New South Wales, we may see damaging wind gusts with storms through this afternoon and evening, which could potentially bring down trees or power lines, leading to some minor property damage. There is also once again a risk of storms through northeast New South Wales and southeast Queensland today, with storms about the northern ranges of New South Wales, bringing the potential of large hail or damaging winds through the course of today. If you live across any of these areas, do check the Bureau's website in case we do need to issue any warnings for storms through the course of today. Now, as this trough moves through, it will bring the risk of storms to the likes of Melbourne and Hobart through the course of this afternoon and evening, and then it will shift eastwards. As we go into tomorrow, this trough system is going to sweep through the eastern and northeastern parts of New South Wales, once again bringing the risk of storms to parts of the east. It will be a less stormy day further to the southeast for Tasmania, Vic and South Australia, but that storm risk will continue for parts of New South Wales and Queensland. Even as we roll into Friday, the risk isn't going to completely ease for parts of southern Queensland, likely to continue through the later part of Friday and eventually start easing back on the weekend. As we roll through into the weekend, it will be much more settled weather across those areas further to the southeast as a ridge of high pressure pushes through. That said, we may still see a few bursts of showery, gusty winds with a couple of other features following up in the wake of that very first trough system. Now, hot and windy ahead of the front, as I mentioned, we are going to see both the winds and the heat peaking with and ahead of this trough line. You can see the temperatures pushing up into the high 30s, if not low 40s, across those southeastern and eastern inland areas. The winds as well are converging ahead of this trough system, and that's why we're going to see that risk with thunderstorms through this afternoon. As we move through the rest of today and into tomorrow, the heat is going to start contracting into northeastern parts of New South Wales. Still some strong and gusty winds around those areas tomorrow as well, which could have an impact on fire behaviour, as we'll get to in just a moment. As we roll through into Friday and the weekend, we're going to see milder weather become more widespread through the southeast, but we are likely to still see some warmer conditions through those areas further north in Queensland. Looking at the fire danger ratings for today, we can see a lot of yellow and orange on our map. Yellow indicating high fire dangers and orange indicating extreme fire danger ratings, which have triggered fire weather warnings. Today, those highest risk areas include the Mallee district of Victoria and the Channel Country of Queensland. Now, we are already seeing some fires ongoing around some of these areas, particularly through southern Queensland. So this is just a reminder to all communities in these parts to stay in touch with your local fire and emergency services to know how you can stay best prepared for this fire weather risk. Even as we go into tomorrow, the risk doesn't ease completely. Largely it contracts into northeast New South Wales and much of Queensland, with extreme fire dangers currently forecast for the northwestern district of New South Wales. That said, we do still see some elevated fire dangers through parts of the southeast, with those bursts of gusty winds behind that first trough line. So we do have a number of hazards on the forecast over the next few days, including the heat, the winds, the storms and the fire dangers. You can find the details of all of those hazards via the Bureau's website or via our app and social media. Stay safe and we'll catch you in the next update.